We got a call about Angel. Somebody said they saw an injured pit bull walking down Flatbush Avenue. He rushed the dog over here immediately. When the dog arrived, we were shocked by his condition. His face was swollen to at least 4 times its normal size.
He had like a big gash on his neck, you know, and above his eye. That was like, you know, not a nice view.
It takes your breath away for a second. You don't want to see anything like that on an animal ever.
I just looked at him and I felt so bad for him. I imagined what kind of pain that he must be in and what happened to him. How did he get that way? Immediately I was told that he was used for bait.
What bait means is people who train fighting dogs will then take a small puppy or a weaker dog and throw it to bigger dogs to be torn apart.
This dog had been bitten all over his face. From the neck up, he had over 100 bites in his face.
He needed immediate medical care. We rushed him to Pet Haven.
So the dog came in and he had multiple puncture wounds that were very deep. And when we sedated the dog, because there had to be 100 puncture wounds on the dog, there was multiple pockets. So pockets mean that when the area drains with the blood and pus, it's going to fill up an abscess. So we had to put in 5 drains in the dog. And that basically was because maybe when the dog was getting bit, the skin was being pulled from the surrounding tissue. But the only trauma was on the dog's head. Everything else was perfect.
They take a box, they have a hole in the middle of the box, they put the dog's head through the hole, and then they secure the dog in so he can't move once his head's through there, and then they take their dogs, their fighting dogs, and they put them on the other side, and then they let them loose, and they used this white dog as a bait dog, and they allowed their fighting dogs to have at him and to continually strike and bite him in the face.
If a dog's gonna fight, granted they will maybe go for the neck or the face, but you're gonna see a wound someplace else. This dog was crystal clean from his neck down. There was not one thing wrong with him. There wasn't even blood anywhere else. There's not one thing besides his face. Even his ears really aren't that bad.
His whole face was swollen out of proportion. He had lacerations on both sides of his face. The top of the palate above his top teeth had a hole in it, probably the size of a marble.
We really didn't know what to expect with this dog. Is he gonna be nice? Is he gonna be friendly? Is he gonna try to rip our faces off? Today, when I was taking out his drains, he was licking us. We had to scrub the areas just to get the blood and everything off that's draining out, and he was just licking us and rubbing his head on us. Nice disposition dog. It was amazing. It was sad because he's so nice, and he really didn't care. He saw other dogs, he didn't care. He was a really good dog. So he was probably just used because maybe he wouldn't fight.
So this dog was clearly used as a bait dog, and then when they were done with him, they took him and they dumped him back on the streets, tied him to a fence, and the way that the gentleman found him that brought him into us was he was laying on the streets, and a bunch of kids were throwing snowballs at him. So we are offering a $1,000 reward to the arrest and conviction of anyone responsible or anyone that can help us to find the person who's responsible for this crime. We've contacted the ASPCA. They've opened up a case on this particular animal, and we are determined to find the person or persons responsible for the cruelty and abuse that's happened to this animal. And I will continue to look for that person until I die.